had to have one sip before I say good morning. Good morning, this is Karen O'Neill, and I'm your host today, hostess, whatever word you want to use. And I'm so blessed and lucky to be here. I love hearing your stories because Monday morning is all about what's going on with us in these wonderful, wonderful Lifeway patches and how it's impacting our lives. And we learn from each other. We learn different ways to use the patches. We are reminded how wonderful they are and what they're doing for everybody else. And so it's absolutely fabulous. But please keep in mind that we are not here to diagnose, treat, cure, or make any of those claims about this product. We're simply talking about what they did for us. So when you tell your stories, and bless us all with your wonderful stories, please make sure you stick to symptoms only. Sometimes you have to get a little creative, but that works. And that's kind of what we're going to do. I want to first say welcome to everybody. Thanks for being here. If you're brand new to the morning chat, you are going to love it. Hold on tight because we're in for a good ride this morning. And you will, you'll just find all kinds of ideas and things to do. So who would like to begin and bless us first? Because this was what gets us going for the week. Gregory?
I'd like to start by inviting Victoria Reed to start. And Victoria is a winner of our Vibrant Living Engagement of the Week contest. She had a wonderful testimonial that she posted in Vibrant Living last week, got the most engagement. So Victoria, congratulations. You've won a free sleeve of X39 and 30 of the gift cards. And would you like to share your story with everyone this morning?
Woohoo!
Sure, Gregory. I was a little surprised. I was actually typing something in the comments and I got a thing to unmute and I'm thinking, no, I don't want to do that. I had surgery on July 26th to remove a trapezium bone from my hand that was in very bad shape. I was a little nervous about the surgery. And so when I went in for the surgery, I patched up with X39 and glutathione. When I came out, I had a huge cast on my hand. And so I used Ice Wave at the top of the cast, the brown patch and the white one down at the bottom. And then of course, when the cast came off, the doctor started moving my thumb. And of course, I was using X39 all along the time too. The doctor started moving my thumb and he said, wow, you know, this is really amazing because this was only 10 days after surgery. He said, I'm not going to put you in another cast. Normally it's 6 weeks in a cast or a splint and then 16 weeks of physical therapy twice a week. So it's 2 hours a week of physical therapy. He said, I'm going to send you to your physical therapist, actually occupational therapist right away. I went in the next week to see the occupational therapist and I took the splint off my hand and she said, you're not supposed to be able to do that. She did a half an hour of intake and then a half an hour of exercise. And she said, I can't believe that you can do everything that you're doing. And I, of course, had my patch right now, my X39 right by my scar, by my incision. And I said, well, it's this little patch here. So she got very interested in it. I went back to see her 2 weeks later because I had a follow-up appointment with the doctor and then went back to see my occupational therapist 2 weeks later. And she said to me, I don't need to see you anymore. So wow. I had an hour and a half of occupational therapy. And when I started, the pain medications they gave me after surgery, I only used them for 36 hours and stopped.
Wow.
So it's absolutely amazing how fast this healed. And I have, at this point, I have full use of my thumb. Still have a little bit of challenge with the wrist, but it is simply mind-blowing. Everybody's shaking their head. They can't believe it.
That is so exciting. And you know, Victoria, when I broke my arm and my shoulder here, the doctors told me that broken bone, which yours was cut, right, and removed, that is one of the worst pains you can have. And to think that these wonderful patches can keep you from having to take a bunch of pain medication. I am so excited for you. And the fact that you didn't need physical therapy, that is mind blowing.
Yeah, it was 32 days complete instead of 6 weeks plus 16 weeks. It was 32 days total.
Man, that's just, yeah. Ripley's Believe It or Not, move over. We got better stories than you ever had.
And while I'm on, can I please plug for everybody else?
Of course.
They're very, very powerful. They're a great tool for prospects. They're a great tool for preferred customers, and they're a fabulous tool for other distributors because we all have our own stories, but other people have stories that can address something that we are not able to personally address that's happening to us. So throw those stories in Vibrant Living. They're very, very powerful. Just no disease names and no patch names.
That's awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And thanks for the plug, because that's a big deal. And you guys work so hard on it. You do such a great job. So thank you. Oh, Victoria, thanks for getting us started out right. And Gregory, thanks for your idea. That was great to bring her on first, because that's an amazing story. But remember, every story is amazing. It doesn't have to be that dramatic. So please come on in and step on up, and let's see who else has a story that you're going to bless us with today.
It looks like Stacey has her hand up.
All right.
Good
Stacey.
morning.
Hi, Stacey.
Hope everyone's doing good. So I have a distributor. She's working during the day, so she can't get on the calls. And she saw me at church yesterday, and she said she's the one that had the stroke a couple of months ago, and she's been doing great. And when she is done with her patch, because her husband goes, no, these are for you, these are for you. Well, he has issues also, so she puts it on him. And he, has it been about a month ago now, I think, they were coming back from up north from a funeral, and he had an attack, and he had to have hernia surgery. And so she started putting the X39 on him. And then when they got back, I gave her some carnosine patches. And so I said, put these on him also, and let's just see what happens. So she was talking to me yesterday, and she said, so he's doing great, but I have a question for you. She said, on your calls, have you heard of anybody having any benefits from using these? Sorry, my husband's in the background here. With AFib. Is that okay for me to say AFib?
I think so.
Okay. Anyway, so he has, some heart issues himself, and he went back to the doctor. I think it was last week, she said, and the doctor was checking, and the doctor's like, because he was checking for the AFib, the heart rhythm and all that, and they're like, there's nothing wrong with you now. So wow. We don't know, right? We don't know. So I just wanted to share that. So it could be something that's helping.
That's so exciting. Thank you,
Yes.
Stacey, for sharing. Oh my gosh, yeah, that just bubbles the joy right up. Makes me feel happy. I'm sure it's making us all feel happy. And hey, Michelle, you put something in the chat about what AFib is. Would you say it? Because I can't see the chat and I want to hear it.
Sure. It stands for atrial fibrillation, which just means one aspect of the heart, the higher portion of the heart, you have atrium and ventricles at the bottom. And it just means that they're beating very fast. So it's, I don't believe that's just a description of what's happening with the heart. It's not a diagnosis. So I think that was
like a symptom, right? A symptom of what the heart's doing.
Yes, the heart is beating way too fast coming from the atria, which is the top of the heart. Yeah.
Okay.
That's incredible story, Stacey. Thank you. Wow.
That is fabulous. Thanks, Michelle, for coming on and saying that out loud.
Sure.
So fabulous. So who's next?
Looks like Kay has her hand up. Kay, Wright?
All right, Kay.
Yes, I have this question. What patches, in addition to the X39, are recommended for people who have issues with the concern that their body is attacking their organs and their skin? This person has had the issue for over 10 years. And she's a mature person like Kay and I are.
Okay, anybody have an answer for that one? Not being a medical person, I really cannot address that. It would be a great, if nobody has an answer, it'd be a great one for the doctor's call, but anybody else? I know that X39 obviously is, like you said, you're already using that one.
Is there one of them that is supposed to, I would think this would be sort of an inflammation issue maybe. And there's a definition between the Eon and the glutathione as to which one of them is, I think, in that area.
Yeah, Eon is good for inflammation, but I think glutathione helps a little with that too. I would, for anything that somebody had that was serious, I would be always using those three and even carnosine, but I don't know exactly, I can't tell you exactly why, because I'm not a medical person. Anybody else have any insight into that?
The glutathione would be very helpful for the inflammation because it's a master antioxidant, and you can raise your glutathione levels by 200% if you wear it for 12 hours.
Perfect.
I would also recommend that you consider the Alavita and go back to the recording of what David taught us on that last week, because he taught about the fact that the Alavita improves the skin through rebuilding collagen. And I think that might be very valuable for her. The whole Alavita program is just amazing when you use the skincare products with it. I just ordered my 3rd pack because I don't want to run out, and I'm not sure when I'm going to be done with it. I just cannot recommend that product highly enough, especially if there's skin issues.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yes, and go back and watch David's product videos because they are incredible. And that does help with all of this. So I don't know that we answered it that well, but I would really invite you to come on maybe tomorrow night to the doctor's call or Dr. Nicholas's call on Wednesday to get some further clarity on that maybe. So awesome. Thank you for that question. Who's
Okay, I
next?
have a comment.
Okay.
With that kind of a systemic issue, of course, we always want the doc to follow. And a really good way to offer that is to go to your doc and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to do this for probably 3 to 6 months. Would you take a real good look at me, and follow me along the way? Because there are definitely lifestyle issues that need to change. But one of the things that I've loved learning about is the difference between it turning off the inflammation cascade, right, which is what most steroids and anti-inflammatories do, and actually resolution of the inflammation cascade. So it's a forwarding, right? Anytime the body's doing something, it's suggesting, hey, we need some resources here. Yeah. And Ice Wave actually does that brilliantly. We talk a lot about, Ice Wave for pain resolution and whatnot, but it really is a capillary bed build. It's I was talking to somebody this morning. We were talking about how to language this as, how do you get the ocean of available bionutrients, bioavailable, to the tissues that are hungry? And Ice Wave is fantastic. And actually SP6 is really great too, because a lot of that resolution capacity is dependent on the body's ability to use fat and deliver fat to the tissues, fat and cholesterol. And SP6 as a hormone balancer and as a cholesterol delivery mechanism, that puts the body in a ketogenic state. So SP6 is fantastic. And of course, any inside out rebuild is an X39 conversation. That's an undifferentiated stem cell motivator, right? Which actually puts the army puts the soldiers in motion, right? And then when they get to the tissues, they know they get their orders. When they get to the tissues, they could become anything. Yeah, but there's definitely underlying lifestyle stuff.
And that's why I like to hear from the doctors. Thank you, Dr. Tom.
And let me just say, Tom, that's a brilliant differentiation I hadn't really considered, mitigating versus neutralizing. And it's great. You can take Tylenol to get rid of pain, but it doesn't have any curative benefits. Where what I hear you saying is the Ice Wave actually not only mitigates the pain, but, assists the body in resolution.
Got it. It's exciting.
That is so awesome. And that's what we want to do. We want to go to the cause and to help our body to heal itself like it's made to do. And that's what we can do with these wonderful patches compared to just taking a drug to stamp out the symptom. So thank you, Dr. Tom. That was brilliant. And I'm so glad we have it recorded because I'm going to go back and listen to it again and take notes. Oh, this is, I love Judy's description of our morning chats. It's kind of like the round table. We're sitting around discussing. And I love it when people kind of pop in and give their point of view. And, you know, we're all in this together, enjoying, sharing, and learning from each other. Who's next?
Roevel,
Hi.
she's got her hand up, but okay.
Mike, I think yours was up before, and I noticed Kay Wright's hand is now down. So go ahead, Mike.
Okay, I have an issue that I try to explain this. I try to put Ice Wave on my hip, but at the time that I put it on, my hip's not hurting. In 1985, I hyperextended on a skiing accident, and it's been an issue ever since. And in 77 and in 85, I had major ligament damage in my left knee. So I get a lot of aching that goes from my hip to my knee. And when I'm standing there to put the patches on, nothing's hurting, but eventually it starts to hurt. Now, because of my shoulders, I can't get to my back to put Ice Wave on my back. So I put it on the waistband of my trousers. So that takes care of lower back because I had a fall for that. But the issue I'm having is what patches should I put on my left leg to take that aching out that exhibits between the hip and the knees?
You know, have you tried it on the bottom of your feet?
Yes, and it didn't do anything.
And that didn't help. Okay,
No.
so then I'm not really sure. Anybody want to jump in on that? That might be a good doctor question for tomorrow night.
There's a horse owner who's an acupuncturist that put the, I know Mike's not a horse, but she put
Sometimes I feel like one.
she put the Eon on the horse's spine and the Ice Wave on either side, and it worked wonderfully. So I'm just wondering if that might be helpful.
Okay, well, sometimes I stack the Ice Wave and the Eon, and then I put an Eon down by my left knee, but I still get this ache that goes right down my thigh, right
Oh.
in by my bones. So it's just, I still
So-
haven't had any luck with it.
Mike, you said you can't put it on your spine. So if you want to try it on your back, what I would suggest is get a safety pin, pin the patch on your shirt about where you want it to fall on your back, and pin it on the inside of your shirt, just through the adhesive part. You don't even need to take off the adhesive, but do a pin on it. And then the shirt will have the patch on your back where you might want it. So maybe try that.
Okay. Well, that's what these calls are for.
Yeah,
Brainstorming, right?
exactly.
Great.
Anybody else have?
Well,
any
Roevel
input?
was next. So Roevel, you wanted to share whatever you'd like to share?
Thanks, Gregory and Karen. Just really briefly, because I'm heading out to concrete. Yes, you heard that right. As some of you know, I'm quite a small person and not terribly strong. I'm 105 pounds. And because I really wanted to work outside, I found myself pushing wheelbarrows with cement in it alongside a 200-pound man, and lifting and doing things that I didn't find possible while wearing X39 and Eon. And today I'll be working with an electrical power saw that I've never done before. And I'm going to, I've got my energy enhancers on, and I might stick glutathione on there too, but I just feel that the patches do so much on a daily basis that I can't speak enough of them. Thanks for listening.
I love that. Thank you. That's amazing. We can do more, be more, feel better. That's awesome. And I really appreciate Gregory calling on people because I can't really see the hands raised on my phone.
Great. And we've got a question from Leslie. angle. If someone, she's not 100% clear regarding whether X39 stimulates copper peptide to activate stem cells, or whether in addition to activation, it also creates new stem cells from skin cells, I believe, which I heard a while back, which is true. I think it's both. I think it activates our stem cells, and active stem cells reproduce, duplicate. That's my layman's perspective. If Dr. Tom wants to give a scientific doctor's perspective, I appreciate that, but I think it really does both.
Yes, and I've heard David say that on both, because he wasn't sure, because it activates the stem cells you have. So he was not sure if it was going to work on people over 70, and it does make them from the skin cells. So, oh my gosh, we have so much to look forward to as we get to pack on the years and still not have the old age syndromes.
And
We're lucky.
Jackie's got her hand up, so go ahead, Jackie.
Thanks, Jackie. We can't hear you yet.
Gotta unmute your phone. There you go. You're still not unmuted, Jackie. Well, we'll come back to Jackie when you unmute.
Hey, Gregory, it's Helen.
Hi,
I just wanted to say something. Karen, when you mentioned putting a pin in the patch, but we should never pin the inner circle. So that would just be the outer edge, because we want to keep the crystals intact. And I noticed that, I don't know.
And I did say pin it on the adhesive. Yeah,
I couldn't hear that part, but I just wanted to make sure everybody.
I'm glad you did.
Not the adhesive with the circle, with the crystals, right? Yeah. And then I see, is it Mara-Ava? You're raising your hand. You can unmute, right?
Yes, hi.
Hi, thank you for coming in.
Thank you. So I know we can't do diagnoses, but basically I had pain from the bottom of my skull all the way down to my buttocks. Was in the hospital twice for, I guess I could say, sciatica spasms that went from my hip all the way down to my foot twice. And it started in October. I went to physical therapy, acupuncture twice a week, massage therapy. I was at the point I was limping and I was on the couch unless I was doing those modalities. And if anybody knows me, if I'm not talking or on the couch, something's really wrong. So anyways, I was fine for 3 months. Then the same thing happened for 5 weeks. In the spring, I met Dr. Tom on LinkedIn. And when I got my shipment, he first had me take the Life Wave and just put it on my neck without even taking, you know, the plastic off or whatever. And I could actually, like, within 5 seconds, feel relief. And this is a person that I'd wake up in the morning, my neck, back, severe pain. It would take me like a half an hour to get out of bed. I'd be stiff, limping. I started the patches on September 1st after the Life Wave. Then I added the X39, then the Ion. I think that's how you say it, AEON, and the Alveda. And then he recommended the next thing, glutamine, or I'm probably not saying that correctly.
Right, glutathione and Eon, yeah.
So I'd say since 3 days after September 4th, I've literally had no back pain, no neck pain. You know, when I would always turn, you know, the blind spot when you're driving, and I'd turn and I'd always have pain on my neck and then my trap. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I feel like a completely different, back to my old self. And I can't say enough about it. I'm just spreading the word as much as possible.
That's a huge change in your life, isn't it?
It's huge because I gone to a spinal doctor at UConn. I live in Connecticut twice. And he told me basically I could go on disability, and that's not who I am. And then after him, I went to an orthopedic doctor who gave me prednisone and a muscle relaxer. Well, I went home. I didn't even take them because I'm just not. I know there's a place for medical. Dr. Tom knows this. My dad was a doctor, but I'm a holistic health coach. And if I can do anything to help myself without medication, I actually have an appointment with the orthopedic doctor on Wednesday. So I can't wait to tell him about my journey and see what he has to say. So I've cut back on acupuncture. Now I just go once a month, or I'm just going to go once this month. And massage, I was going every week, and I'm going to do twice a week just because I love massage.
And it's good for you. And I think that's the thing. We hear the stories and they're wonderful, but you think about the change in the quality of your life. And, I'm with you. I only take medications. I pretty much look at the doctor and say, will I die without it? And I do have one that I have to take, but I agree with you. I want my body to repair itself and be able to heal. I don't want to just stamp out the symptoms. So I love it. And I love the difference in the quality of life you have because of this seemingly simple looking little thing that looks like a Band-Aid, and yet it's a paradigm shift. It's a life changer. It's wonderful. So I'm gonna rely on Gregory.
I can't thank him enough. I have such gratitude for all of you, frankly.
That's wonderful. Well, I'm glad you're
Thank
here,
you.
and I'm glad you discovered the
you.
patches and that you're using them. That's wonderful.
Thanks. I appreciate
Awesome. Hey, Gregory, who's next?
Robin. Robin.
Yay, Robin. Thank you, Mara-Ava.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
Okay, I guess I should look here. I just want to say welcome to Jennifer Starr, because she's a longtime friend of mine. She happened to be in town visiting and ended up in the business. This is her very first call. I'm thrilled that she's closer in our lives and sharing this amazing community and the great news of LifeWave. So I just wanted to welcome Jennifer Starr. And why don't you put your camera on for a second and just say hi.
Thank you, Robin and Gregory. So glad to be here. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, and you and your 85-year-old mom are having some wonderful results too.
Yes, yes.
I talked to your mom the other day. She said she went up and down a ladder 40 times to help hang pictures at 85.
Oh, yeah.
That's marvelous.
I'm going to hear more stories.
Yeah, great. Well, welcome, hon.
And welcome anyone else. If there's anyone else
Yes,
who's brand
anyone else
new,
brand new?
we have new people popping on every week. And if you're first time with us here on our 30-minute product chat, and I think we're officially going to start calling it 30-minute chat. We were calling it 20-minute chat, but it always goes closer to 30. So we kind of just facing our reality. It's a 30-minute call, and you can come on and leave whenever you need to. But welcome if you're brand new. If there's anyone else that's brand new and you want to pop on and say hello, we'd love to see or hear you. And if not, we're right at the end. So Karen, as you know, every Monday evening, we have our Live Younger community call. And we're really excited, going to be sharing success. And we have a new director, Dr. Barbara from Colorado, and she'll be sharing some of her secrets to her success. And we've got some other exciting stuff we're going to be sharing with you. And we always keep those calls around 30 minutes also, once a week.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in LifeWave land. And I think everyone got a special invitation in the US. David's doing a vaccine update on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific. And it's not recorded. It won't be shared. So if you want to hear it, get on live. The fall sprint is underway since we had our last call. It's in the Facebook page. You earn points, you earn gifts and all kinds of goodies. And those of you that had over 50 points on the spring sprint, you will be getting that new patch to try before anyone else in October, which is just a few weeks away. And we also have that, the registration for the conference is coming up. So all those will be in the newsletter and you'll get that, and make sure you're on their newsletter list. Those are updates
Beautiful.
for today.
Yeah, and when you sign up, just a reminder, when you sign up new folks on your team, forward your newsletter to them so they can click the little blue button at the bottom and get on the weekly newsletter list also. So that's it from Bozeman.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Karen.
thanks.
You always do such a beautiful job hosting and welcoming and greeting everyone. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. I hope next week I do better so I can actually call on the people. Hopefully technology will not be so mean to me. Anyway, thank you. Yes, everybody for being here. It's so exciting. Woo! Go shine your light, share your patches, and have a wonderful week. And I'll see y'all tonight.
And Roevel is right. She said, people in Canada, it's the US, it's a North American call with David. So it's not
Is
just
it?
the US.
Even though they say it's US.
Yeah, they probably said it wrong, but I'm sure the Canadians, us Canadian partners up north will be able to join in also. Okay, well, blessed day. If you want to unmute your phone and say hello, goodbye, unmute your line. That'd be great. And we'll bring this call to a wrap.
Hey,
Bye.
Michelle had a birthday.
Fantastic.
Have a good day.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, as
Beautiful.
always.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye
Bye.
from Canada.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks to everyone who shared today.
Bye.
Bye.